Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Martin Wong. And today, Trading Idea with SMARTRobie, we definitely have a treat for especially those of you who are very interested in the fundamental. And this is slightly a new feature which we are testing out. And I believe this new feature on the fundamental will eventually be a permanent feature in SMARTRobie, of course, with complement and from our co-partner TradingView, working together with SMARTRobie in here. Now, many of you would have known and heard the news. The continued cases continue to go up for Malaysia. Now we are most heading just short of 9,000 cases. What does it mean all around? We will explore and look in the market that we have for you this morning in here. Now this morning, let's turn our attention to the market that we have. And today it's Friday. That's right. Today is Friday. And don't forget our all exchange pass for our SMARTRobie, so you can access all three markets that you see, the KLSE, the S&P 500 and the SGX, as there are many opportunity out there in here. And don't forget our collaboration with Rakuten in here. Do open up an account and you stand a chance to win a 50 ringgit brokerage voucher, which stand for Rakuten 5,000 points. So check it out in there and take note. They will be releasing a US accounts and very affordable commission, that I was told, in the coming months. So check it out in here, and this will come through with the collaboration, and we're going to bring back more news with you on Rakuten. That's right. Now also today is Friday. It's Friday here, and so what we do is we'll be looking at the advanced level in here. Not to forget the advanced level, some premium setup in here, and also looking at the charts. Now many of you may want to know about the chart setup in here. Do check out our video tutorial that you have, or join us on the evening session with my senior trainer Zach, that's going to explain to you, and also our coach Ari. And definitely tomorrow 2 p.m. many of you already know, if you check out just below you at the pinned comment, do sign up for our part 2 for our growth investing, where we will reveal to you that many people may charge you a lot more for this, but absolutely free on how we look at growth investing for our Malaysian audience, as well as also the US markets in here, those of you who are interested, and using the existing tools that you have, and how would this definitely benefit you. And that's more coming right now. All right, let's take a look at what we have in our headlines this morning. Right, our market headline is definitely the interest rate. Now, what many people did ask me, what do you mean by WYSD that you see just right in the middle of the screen there? It stands for what you should do, status quo. That simply means that for an investor, or for those of you who are first time, this is what my message to you is that with the interest rate currently at 1.75, and we all know, which I've been talking for the many months since we are still in this COVID, ever since we are back in March 2020. So we are still in COVID in here, and the continued cases that we talk about in our market, we all know that we hit 9,000, which does tells you likelihood the Delta variant is already spreading in Malaysia, that we've seen in there. Check out the Indonesia COVID cases, which I do, and I tend to update some of the audience with me here with regards to it, whether are we getting out sooner or later. Now in this chart that you see is the overnight policy rates from January to 10, and we are pretty much always been around the 3% in here. So now we are in a new regime, which is the slightly below the 2% interest rate, and I think this will likely to continue to help out with the overall stimulating the economy, which the GDP growth continued to be around 2021, about 4 to 5% growth in here. So what does this mean? Banks will generally continue to hold on. Any interest rate cuts definitely will affect to banks not doing so well. Now this morning, as I said before, let's take a look at our KLCI. Definitely one of the things you will notice, okay, is the continuing or what we call the market downtrend. That's right, our market downtrend is continue to fall in here, okay, and you can see from the chart. Let me just switch to a wider chart. Okay, switch to a wider chart for you here, and just give me a minute here, and I just want to All right, so if we switch to a wider chart, this is what we had yesterday with the big fall that we saw in both the US market as well as the Hong Kong market. Two things. First of the declaration of emergency in Japan with the COVID-19. So suddenly the world is really reacting to more cases coming up from Delta variant. This is what we see. So the market has been down 1560, and now right now the support is at 1500. That's right, the 1500 will be the support level that we have, and any continuation falling definitely. So what we usually say is when you see a yellow trend zone like you see in here, try to stay out from the market. Okay, try to stay out from the market, and that's not turning very positive. Okay, normally when you see you need to wait until some sort of a trade setup that we have set accumulation. That's what you want to be. Or perhaps those of you who are beginner, look at the green pentagon. And one of the things that I just want to share with you in here is a new indicator. All right, in here that we have is the pentagon for the individual active and non-active shares. Okay, the individual active and non-active shares that we see here. So let me just bring up this. I don't know why the icons are not coming out. Yes, the icons are coming out now. Sometimes my phone have this emoji display. So you can see from here, this is a new feature, as I said before. So you will notice on the right hand side here, if any of those active stocks, especially if they are green pentagon and the bullish rating, take note of bullish rating around 70%, that's the one where it's actually the market has not turned very bullish. All right, Sedania, if you look at it, the item number 50178, pentagon is red, so that tells you pentagon is going down. Red, bearish rating is red, so you're really buying on some sort of a rebound. It could be a dead cat bound. Bullish rating Pelican, it seems to be good in here, 40 cents. Let's take a look at Pelican 5231, and you can go to the stock chart and stock comment here, and you can see if you have bought it since the green pentagon before this big news about they selling out in Pelican, usually that's a time to get out. And right now there was a profit taking yesterday from here. But one of the things I want to share with you, which is again another new feature, we have two new features this morning to feature you. One is definitely on the KLCI market today, where you can see the icons in here. Okay, all the emoji, that's right, the emoji icons that you see, red one. And the other one is on your fundamentals. Okay, if you click on the fundamental, I want to share with you with the financial 4-year trend. If you look at it, just below the market cap, right, we have a PE of, in this case for Pelican, 35 times ROE 1.4. Financial 4-year trend, again, complementing to TradingView, hit that one, the Pelican trading overview, and it will take you to a chart where you can actually see how well and how great this stock is. If you look at it, the 4-year trend for the income statement for Pelican, or in this way we call it revenue, you can see it actually been coming down. That's not that great, is it? But one thing did show is the profit margin. Just touch on it, you can see on the screen, is it 0.61? And really, the profit margin really struggling. It's only 1% profit. Of course, you can also switch to a quarterly one in here. You could see it's actually making loss in the last 2 quarters. You can just pinch it up there. You can see from here, net profit is minus 15.8 million. So finally, SMARTRobie together with TradingView is having a full feature of fundamental as well as technical. What can you ask for? No other apps that combine both fundamental and technical, where SMARTRobie has the Pentagon Guider, which give you the buy, entry and exit, as well as now able for you, especially the new beginner, to buy something that is logical, at least some sort of a positive trend that makes money. So this is definitely a new feature that would so-called bring SMARTRobie to a new level, especially and it will be very similar for all exchange, where you can have the KLSE, you can have the US market, and we will look at the US market and also the SGX, okay, for that one. So that's just one of the something that the technical teams in SMARTRobie as well as TradingView been working on, and to bring this to you right in the apps that you see right now in here. All right, let's move on to our next news that we have. There's no other than the high crude oil prices in Plantation. Now we have seen the Plantation continue to hit 4,800 on May 18, but the news talks about why didn't the Plantation sector on the KLCI stocks like TSH, KLK, IJM, Kim Long, Taan, or this SOP, Sarawak Oil Plant, why hasn't it moved yet? And this article probably talk about why was it. It's again, I think it's pretty simple. Many of you know is the bearish nature that the KLCI is having, as such that even the valuation is continue to drag down. It's just that foreign funds are not coming in to buy, right? And you know, retail investor like ourselves, we tend to have very few money, and most of the time, because many of the retail investor in Malaysia hasn't used SMARTRobie yet or hasn't been educated, so they tend to punt and then tend to speculate. So Plantation stock like this tend to be a very slow mover. We would not have a very so-called longer time frame to hold or to buy or some sort of and such. That's how I believe many of the retail investors shun away from the Plantation. They rather go for technology stock and any of those penny stocks like what we seen previously. A lot of money was stuck in server dynamics, right? A lot of people who went long, they couldn't get out, and you know that's what happened. But this news talks about, like it or not, there is a disparity between higher palm oil prices and Plantation stock, and that correction is not going to come any sooner unless they have a corporate exercise. The UOB Kay Hiang research here says that the price performance of the Plantation stock has continued to trend downwards. Okay, I repeat, trend downwards, special emphasis here, despite CPO prices hitting higher. So normally CPO prices hitting higher, that will have some sort of margin expansion. But however, I think the harvesting, it remained to be issue, labor remained to be issue, so there is not much of a translation of the higher crude oil prices to expand to margin. And how do we know this? Let's take an example, okay? Let's look at SOP. SOP in here, and we can hit that one just to show you the example, switching a wider chart to show you how we can do fundamental analysis very fast. Okay, let's look at SOP. Let's look at the chart here, the insight with this, which is a Sarawak Oil Plantation, and you can see, look at that. All right, so having said that, this is what we call wealth destroying. We have CPO prices going higher, and then you have SOP from 4 ringgit now dropping down to almost 3 ringgit and 50 cents. So you'll be scratching your head, why is this happening in here? Now let's take a look at the fundamental side. So hit on fundamental again, we'll be using the SMARTRobie 4-year trend. So you look at here, it has a fundamental rating of 4 with a PE of 9 times, the ROE of 8. Not that great. Having said that, a dividend of 1.75. But let's hit on to the 4-year trend of this SOP, Sarawak Oil Plantation in here. So you can see, there you go, right? You can look at the right hand side. Why is it coming down? You can see from terms of the revenue in the income statement since 2007, it's been really trending down. But what is interesting is the profit margin. Okay, the profit margin is streaming up here. You can see here is 7%, and despite what it is, Sarawak Oil Plants is not doing pretty bad. Revenues are coming down, and this could be many other reasons that we need to take a. But let's switch over to quarterly, whether we see margin expansion or not. Now, if you look at the third quarter here, we have a margin of 9%. Fourth quarter, margin of 2%. Okay, so this quarter in here, margin has gone up to 10%. So there hasn't been a steady margin going up, and you need to have a steady margin going up. That will explain why we see the expansion. Now, if you put in the tech stocks like UWC or Great Tech, I think Great Tech was one of the very good example. You will see the margin expansion for the profit margin on a quarterly basis. That explain why the stock price shoot up so much, because there's demand. So in many ways, very quickly, you can actually look at the margin expansion in here between the relatively quarter. That will give you whether this stock is something you want to hold or not. So that is why we see a lot of this Plantation stock not having a continuous, what we call a margin expansion. Now, margin expansion is important. It's part and parcel of a growth stock. So having said that, we can say that Plantation stocks on that example of SOP hasn't been performing well because we have the trend. Of course, you can check it out in here, putting Kim Long, putting Taan, check out the 4-year trend. All right, you just verify, just very quickly, Taan, Taan, hit that one. Go over to stock fundamentals. Okay, and you want to see the trends. Hit that one in here. You can see Tahan is rated out too. Let's see if the similar picture that we get here. So you can see Tahan, not bad. You see Tahan has a different story. Revenue going up, but look at the margin coming down. So margin coming down, not good lah. All right, and you look at the margin, wow, 3% only, so low, isn't it? Right, and this is where we have switching to a quarterly chart. Again, very similar, right? We saw the same example what we saw in SOP, up and down, and that explains why, you know, Tahan hasn't been great. Let's look at the Tahan stock price here. Okay, hit on Tahan stock price, and you can see also same picture, coming down. So the fact that this report that you see in here did not explain about the margin expansion, and the very short 10-minute explanation I have explained to you, the margin explained, that probably tell you why the stock price is going down. And for those of you who like fundamental, just for the facts. Let's move on to our next news that we have here. Is the early days for AirAsia digital move. Okay, now for the early days AirAsia digital move, basically what they're trying to say, look, we haven't been doing very well for our travel. Now we're going to move on to, you know, the apps business. Just like pretty much SMARTRobie is doing that, and they're going into buying this operation in Thailand. Gojek. Okay, I'm just kind of surprised why would Gojek in Indonesia trying, you know, selling it to, probably could be a funding issues inside here. But the report talk about the very early stage. Now the digital segment is still infancy, and although this is a different ball game exposed to the AirAsia traditional business, the airline. So usually when you see if a company moving on to startup, that means they have to start trimming. So at one point you have this legacy business, which is an airline business. It's just very cutthroat, very difficult, and going forward even for 2022, 2020, I think the picture will be clear in 2023. So let's take a look at the AirAsia chart and also the fundamentals, and then you pretty have a much better picture in here. But having said that, Kenanga is maintaining underperformance on the target price. Let's take a look at AirAsia right now. Type in AirAsia. Okay, this is AirAsia, and let's look at the stock price and stock chart. It has done pretty well, as I said before, despite what the news is, and probably is also reacting on this news that you see in here. All right, so let's switch to a wider chart here, and you can see right now, what we have is the stock is still holding up at 88 cents with the resistance at 98 cents, and this big move about the stocks continue to move upwards. Okay, is there, but we do not know whether this will translate to the fundamental or not. On the paper wise, is doing the right thing. So what you should do, WYSD, is future prospect looks pretty good, but not something you want to buy now. No doubt it has done green Pentagon, maybe still early. Let's look at the fundamentals, stock fundamentals here, and you can see it is not rated. It is still money losing, but let's check out the trend. All right, this is going to be very visible to you, and this is where we are. So 2019 to 2020, you could see this is where, you know, we have the COVID, and that's where this lost money. Now let's look at the quarterly basis. Again, we want to pay notice to the margin expansion in here. Margin went up, margin go down, margin went up. Of course, Q4, we all know the COVID cases in here. So basing on the quarterly report that we have inside here, if wow, look at that, the margin profit is minus 239, and here is 700. Wow, a lot of losses, right? So it's still in losing money, so it has to come to positive, and that's what this report also agreed with that, right? Just off my head, if you think the coming quarter for AirAsia there will be profitable, this stock will jalan, right? But of course, usually stock price move first, because smart money know about this, isn't it? They know about this, they will push up that share. So watch it out. If it does break out the technical high, in this case, let's look at technical high will be the old high here, which is the 96 cent, almost at 1 ringgit, then maybe it's time to go home. Does it pay any dividend? Definitely not. All right, check out the 4-year trend inside there. And this is something that we will talk more tomorrow, using the 4-year trend to see whether they are growth stock or not. But I think many of you were able to see the continued use of fundamental and technical that will make you a smarter investor and trader. All right, that's our promise here at SMARTRobie. So do share this SMARTRobie apps with your friends and colleagues, so they'll continue to benefit as we make improvement our apps to enhance your user experience and bring you up into skill and to the next level too. All right, let's look at the next story that we have for you here. Okay, just want to make sure it's this one here, is the REITs. That's right. Now in this morning paper here, they talk about office and industrial REIT. I'm not that big lover of office REITs, to be frank with you. There are people working from home, so definitely there are more and more office out there, so it's definitely a no. So this report talks about, saying that, look, the market is recovery, so they are tweaking down. So just previously they were bullish. Now they said they want to revise it, saying that IGB REITs, KLCC, Staple Growth, Pavilion REITs are going to be weaker. So you might want to trim it, but they are bullish on the industrial REITs. Okay, they are industrial REITs, and industrial REITs, there's only one segment that I think which still hold on is exits REITs remain to be stable. So keep an eye on this REITs if you like the dividend. Now let's take a look at the SMARTRobie, since we're talking about the REITs, and do a little bit of research from here. Okay, we're going to get to the premium alert later. Okay. Okay. So on the REIT side, switching to a wider chart here. Okay, it is a wider chart. So let's look at Pavilion REITs, PAV. Okay, Pavilion REITs, and let's look at the stock chart and chart here. So you look at the stock chart, and all right, it is still holding up. Okay, did dip back down, so there was a recovery play in here, right? And let's look at the other REITs that they mentioned, KLCC. Okay, KLCC, I think they changed it back to KLCC. So stock chart and stock comment will be very similar too. While we're waiting for it. Okay, let me just comment on the REITs that I really like, is the exits REITs. Okay, AXITT. Okay, this is something, it's not right. Okay, never mind. We'll come back to this one later. So let's go on to exits REITs. So exits REIT is the stock chart, stock comment, right? So you can see stock chart and stock comment, it is holding up. That's a very nice one there, right? He hasn't done green pentagon yet, but let's look at the fundamentals. Okay, so fundamental in here, it is giving a 1 out of 8, so not that fantastic. Again, looking at the 4-year financial trends in here, it's good to have some sort of trend. Again, we do have the net income dropping, and also profit margin also drop. By the time profit margin drop, of course, can be expected. More and more people are taking up less. So again, this is going to be a long-term play. Switching to a quarterly chart, you can see Q4 to Q1. Also, there is a string on profit margin, which explains why the stock price are beginning to dip. Now, this is important. If the margin expansion were to happen, then you'll see the stock price move up. So this is going to be a bit of cat and mouse to start to detect whether the profit margin going to come, and you need to check on the stock prices. Usually stock price move ahead before all this news about profit margin come, but at least you can keep track of it and try to understand some of these. Of course, there are others statistical, you can check it out in here, like balance sheet. As you can see, as I move my options here, check it out in there. Definitely one options will make you a smarter investor. So that's on the side of the REITs inside. Now let's turn our attention to the US market, switching now to US S&P 500. Yesterday we have a big scare because of the big sell-off that we see on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and also the lockdown that we see, and all of a sudden people were complaining about falling interest rate. You know, the market always have something to complain about. Previously, interest rate was high, they complain. Now interest rate low, so they complain. Very interesting, right? So the story talks about the stock market searching for what's next. Now, like it or not, we had hit the triple top on the US Dow Jones. Let's hit the news, not the news, S&P 500. Let's go on to this the S&P 500 market today. You can see we are hitting new high. S&P 500 has hit new high, broken the 4250, which is the old resistance. Now we are close to about 4,400. Of course, that's where we get correction inside here. Now the talk of the town is this word they call reflation trade. Now reflation trade, I checked the economic dictionary. It means that growing economy because of US recovery and the growing inflation. Okay, so economy is going up, that's good, but growing inflation no good. So they're saying growing inflation is coming to an end. That's correct. Growing inflation is coming to an end because interest rate drop. So as such, they say growing economy is going to come in a drop, but do take note, one of the reasons why it's also dropped is because of the Delta variant, which many people have been talking about it. You see the Delta variant which is happening in Malaysia, Indonesia, and many parts of the Asia. But in US, they're saying this is going likely to happen in there. But there is news about the America are divided into two states, the red and the blue. The blue one are fully vaccinated because majority are Democrats. Then you have the red state, which majority are Republican. So cases continue to go up. So somehow, some way, the US market will need to price in this kind of information. Most importantly is that the reopening of the US market, and I don't think it will shut down the economy. I don't think at this point, as a part of it, almost 50% to 60%, depending of the vaccination that you see in different states in US, has been vaccinated. So minor correction, yes, but a big correction, I don't see that. But what has also explained, this will also show you that the Dow Jones, which is majority are value driven, will fall because of the lower interest rate. Now, the lower interest rate that is fall is because many institutional investors, if you see on top of me here, they are fleeing to bonds because they say that, look, the stock price has gone way, way ahead of it. I'm very scared right now. I think correction is coming. Okay, every time when you hit new high, the bull climb on the wall already. So they shift to treasury yield. They buy bonds. So when you buy bonds, interest rate comes out because it has an inverse relationship. So that is more of me explaining the macroeconomics to you, how the stock market works. Knowing that will actually make you money. That's how I make my money in the market. Knowing the macroeconomics, knowing the chart on the right hand side, that's how the market will move. And again, I'll talk more about this tomorrow in our Zoom session. So make sure you check me out in here. So that's one of the comment I want to talk about in here. So next is on the Warren Buffett, and this news came out that AAPL is actually Apple stocks. Those of you who don't know, he said that he regretted selling Apple at the end of 2020. He sold almost 8.9 million shares that's worth about 18 billion. So he cost it. No, take note, even the great value investor also make mistake. What about us? We human, right? We who look at many things also make mistakes. But having said that, at least having SMARTRobie, checking out the entry, checking out the fundamental for us, using the VSA as a market timing, it does make us to be a very, very rational investor or very, very rational trader. Would you agree? All right, if you agree, just type in one there. Because many times we have this FOMO, fear of missing out, or simply we are just too bodoh to do our research, too bodoh to just hear there and we go in and then we die. After die, worst thing is your money. So SMARTRobie enabled to do that by checking out. Again, you can look at here, we have all the Pentagon color rating. You can see Apple yesterday, most active, was down slightly, just $1 in here. Green Pentagon, but take note, bullish rating is 94%. So every time when it's 94%, it does tells you it's pretty bullish in here. We want to be somewhere around 60-70% will be the best. So you can see from here, NIO, okay, NIO, N-I-N-O is still red, hasn't turned bullish. NIO, let's take a look at NIO here. All right, so this is how I want to teach you how to look for stocks in the US. Now, NIO is electrical maker in here, just turned red Pentagon, but if you had gone in earlier on, right, around when it turned green Pentagon 37, right, and probably take some profit right now, you are still making money. All right, maybe perhaps this would tell us a possible re-entry. Now let's look at NIO being electrical maker. Let's go to do the stock fundamentals. So you look at the stock fundamental, it is loss making, negative 73% in here. So this is pretty much explains why it is a startup, just like Tesla in here. Again, going back to the 4-year trend. Okay, in TradingView, you can see look at that. Look at the revenue. Revenue continue to grow. This is a story similar to Grab. Not making money now. They just continue to grow 2.4 billion. But once that revenue, continue to grow between 2.4, 2.5, 2.6 billion, it will pull that net profit up. That's how they do it. You can see, right? Every time when the sales growth, the revenue growth, they will pull the green. What is the green here? The green is the net profit. All right, now you understand how it works. So this is what we call the relationship. When you see it in graph, of course, let's switch over to the quarterly one. You can see the net profit has gone a bit worse, but anyway, it's only Q1. Perhaps you will drag it a bit, perhaps in the coming months, it will be better in here. But just take note of this. This could be a possibility to buy at a lower pullback. All right, if you see here, that's the idea for Neo in here. Of course, there are many others in here. You can take a look at Ford, General Electric, but let's take a look at Apple since we're in the talk of the town here. Let's hit Apple. Let's look at the stock chart and stock price. Stock chart here. Okay, so you can see from the stock chart. Oh, sorry, I hit the stock fundamental. Let's go down to stock chart. Okay, so you can see from a stock chart, since the green pentagon, okay, never mind, we can easier, we just go back to here. You can see green pentagon on the on the right hand side. AAPL, Apple, is likely to be 14.8% since the green pentagon in here, about a 15% return already. So even Warren Buffett doesn't use volume spread analysis. Imagine if he used it to do his timing, I think he would have done much better, right? Remember, right? That is why I always recommend we, as beginner, or we are the student of the market, we will use whatever tools that will help us to become more proficient, to maximize returns and minimize risk. And that's what SMARTRobie is all about in here. All right. So if you look at the fundamentals, let's go over to the stock fundamentals here, right? And you can see right now we have FA rating of 4. That's very good. Okay, let's look at the trends. All right, like what we talk about in here. So you look at the trends, continue to make heavier, but over the years, the profit margin has dropped. And you notice the profit margin almost 21% compared to the Malaysia one, right? Some zero, like Pelican, only 1%. How to survive lah? You need to have at least a 12% profit margin higher, okay? This is why Apple hasn't been one of the big really vulnerable, because they also struggle to maintain the high profit margin that you have. Now also they're launching the iPhone 13, which will help to maintain the profit margin in here. More importantly is the cash flow that they generated in here. Operating cash flows, you can see that's the one that that comes out from the business. Operating cash flows, investing and financing. Something I'll touch on some of the latest training that we do when we cover more fundamentals in here. But this does switch over to a quarterly here. You can see, yes, we do have profit expansion, right? From the Q2 21 to Q1 21. And this is the trend that we look for. So once we see this expansion of profit margin, then we'll see this stock price of Apple likely to go higher, not lower for that one. All right, so take note of this one in here. Very good, very useful to talk about it. Maybe Warren Buffett should use SMARTRobie, then he will be much greater investor. All right, let's turn our attention right now to Singapore market. RHP has raised the price to 135, so let's switch over to Singapore side, SGX, right? And Robie chart here, go on to okay, let's take a look at I'll just type Raffles anyway, that will be easy. BSL, okay, BSL, and this was on this morning news, giving them a profit target of 135. So let's take a look at BSL stock price right now. It's 119, so just slightly another 10 more percent, about 10%. Let's look at the stock chart and stock comment. Okay, so stock chart, stock comment, it does have a green pentagon, and this looks pretty decent. I mean, you have the big washout that we have somewhere back in May, continue to move up in here. Of course, next we will look at the stock fundamentals to justify whether it's good to hold or not. And definitely from here onwards, you will see a rating of 2. 2 is not so bad lah. 2 is still okay lah. Not investment grade, but let's look at the 4-year trend of the Raffles in here. You can see, whoa, not bad. Again, continued sales to be up. Let's look about profit margin drop lah. Usually, sometimes we get that. 2019 and 2020 expected lah. Got COVID ma, correct? Now, not many people go for elective surgery and so forth, right? So let's look at the quarterly. Quarterly should see profit expansion. Oh, they don't have quarterly here, okay? So we just have to stick with the annual in here. Cash flow is pretty good, and also it does have some sort of earnings estimates here, right? The actual and estimates, so it does give you some sort of... So from a standpoint of this chart-wise, I think it's okay to have some exposure. I believe you can see giving a profit of dividend of 2%. The ROE not fantastic, about 7% only, but the PE is a bit pricey. If you can find something else, do look at them too. But having said that, this is again a recovery play in the Singapore buy. Of course, for Malaysia, you can type KPJ or IHH Healthcare, and then you can compare, see which is a better fit. I think one of the lessons I want to share with you right now is that no doubt our market, the KLCI, continue to go downward, but there is a very similar picture where you can compare and do very similar what I showed you. Just look at the trend of the expansion of the profit margin, you look at the sales growth, then you pretty much know which company you want to do, and this is what we call doing research within 5 minutes. That's right, 5 minutes, even less than that, right? I'll just show you in there. Everything can be done within, just like 3 minutes in here. All right, let's move on to next is our Pentagon. Continue to do pretty well. Last year we have 106% return for 35,000 portfolio, and this year from January up to end of June, right now we are still up 12% with a win rate of 50%. So we have outperformed the KLCI using our Pentagon portfolio strategy. And for those of you who have followed it, I hope you have a better result. And if you this year hasn't done decently, at least in the positive territory, do let us know. We would like to help you out. All right, and why haven't you performed well for the last 6 months, and would you do better for the next 6 months, and what do you need to do better for the next 6 months? What are you going to do? Are you just going to sit and hear more tips, or average down? Do let me know, and share with me tomorrow when we meet up for our growth investing course. All right, let's go. Growth investing Zoom session. That's right. Now on our leaderboard for our advanced trade idea in here, we still have some of those winner, not the big one in here. Last week we have Velesto. That is Velesto. Okay. Okay, this is Velesto here. Let's take a look at Velesto before we're going to check out some of the stocks that you guys want me to look at. And so you can see from Velesto, the 2nd of July was somewhere around here. So the market actually drops. There were no catalyst to push this up higher. We know that crude oil has gone higher. It has turned green Pentagon. Again, the bearish outlook at the bearish sentiment that we see. So this market seems to be no one really interested in that. Again, of course, I also like to look at the fundamental. This is again a new feature. Switch back to KLSE. Now, of course, some of you are saying, all this research I have to wait for at night. Then get hold of the All Exchange Pass, right? Just 800 credit, that's all. A good way to do your research and even get notified, right? Remember, if you don't invest, big fortune won't come, all right? Why wait until at night? Okay, do it right now. Okay, let's look at the Velesto here. And again, going back to fundamentals. Okay, Velesto, hit that one. And let's go to stock fundamentals. Okay, hit the 4-year trend. Switch to a wider chart for you here, and you can see, not so good huh? Look at that, like a double top, right? No doubt, definitely we have the. Let's look at the quarterly one. It's even better. Quarterly losing less money lah. Okay, so you can see from there they are losing less money, but hopefully once they make more money, the market will go up. So this is on a turnaround. You can look at it. What I mean turnaround, fourth quarter 20 they lost money, first quarter also lost money, and hopefully they don't lose money lah. So make sure if the market break higher, right, very simple. So on Q2 21, if they start to make money, this chart is going to break up. So right now it's still green. So you just check out on the trading plans. When is the next quarterly report earnings, and play on this. Okay, if we do have a better profit margin, let's check out the profit margin in here. Wow, minus 137%. This one is even more, minus 500% return. Let's go back to the annual one. If you look at the profit margin, usually what's the profit margin? 5% only. Jialat, man, we say compared to Apple 20%, because of course different industry cannot compare, isn't it, right? So that is something that eventually you start to think about it. Hey, where should I put my money? It's like now you will know what company do well and which company don't do well by looking at the profit margin. Institutional research at your fingertips with SMARTRobie. All right, let's move on to our next stocks is JHM. Okay, JHM has done pretty well. So JHM was the 2nd of July around here. Yep, that was no, JHM actually we picked much earlier, 18th of June, somewhere around here. Okay, somewhere around here, the market moves sideways, hits up, pull back, and we are seeing that in a very day-to-day kind of trend inside. I think with the technology moving higher, this will continue to do well, no doubt about it. But just stay close, have some profit, take a bit more, right? And again, something we'll talk more tomorrow too. So make sure you join me on the growth investing stocks. We will explore some of these growth stocks and how to look for them. Okay, let's look at next. We have JHM. All right, let's look at this week. The advanced trade idea. I just have one, which is Poly. Okay, Poly is the premium alert this morning, and that will be the one. So Poly glass. So you can see, wow, this is really huge, right? Hit the top, have an upthrust, switching to hourly chart. Yep, that was a profit taking. So maybe around here, the 82 cents will be good. All right, let's come back and see next week how it. But if you don't want to, you cannot need to get it, because as I said before, the KLCI now is simply bullish. Some of these may just be profit taking. But having said that, we want to come back and re-examine this. Your chance is always better when the green pentagon is on the KLCI. Just take note of that one here. All right. Now let's look at the next is the schematic in here. The schematic, or what we call the conceptual map, is always going to be line change. This is the default for many of our beginners here. Of course, when you're better, you can trade better one. You can trade the pullback, which we teach in our masterclass. And subsequently, our next intake will be in August. That's right. The registration is still open for those of you who are interested. And for those of you interested on all our sign and strength, sign and weakness, check it out in here. There's a QR code will help you in it. And this is the QR code for our growth investing course. And definitely by this evening, we'll send out the agenda, what we'll be teaching in here. We'll start at 2 o'clock. We should end about 4:30, where we'll, again, do bring in your hopefully what you want to do is that you have a phone to listen, then you have a computer to do the exercises that we want you to do too. Because we will be looking some stocks for that matter, just like we're doing in TradingView, that you can also go in and change it. And hopefully you don't want to listen to the Zoom during driving, then you miss out a lot. And do take a lot of notes, okay? That will be our Zoom session tomorrow here. Make sure you join us. And don't forget to check out our tradevsa.com event for all our events updated here, and not to miss out. All right, and we usually update this as we remember last week we did do on the Telegram a survey on what you guys want to have, and this is something that we will come out with new video, new educational program, as well as many of you did ask for research content. That's something that we intend to do too. All right, so check it out in there. So next is the Google Play Store. So I was told by marketing that that I hope that you all can, those of you who have not, just go over to Google Play Store and the Apple Store to give us your feedback, your review for that, so to ensure that our SMARTRobie apps stay relevant as what we have shown you just now earlier, with the Pentagon on the active chart, most gainer, as well as the 4-year financial trends that is available on SMARTRobie. So check it out in there, and also give us your honest review so we can continue. Also at the same time right now, I will be looking at some stocks that you want me to look at. This will be the time. If you have any. Okay, let's take a look at TA and FA. Okay, look at TA and FA first for long or medium term. Lai here has a question. Look at TA and FA first for long or medium. Now you need to decide on your trade. Okay, you need to decide on the stocks that you're buying, whether you're long term or not. And especially I've already explained in the masterclass how you want to divide your portfolio and a strategy for that one. All right. I think Lai, you are one of our main masterclass in here. Do post it on the Telegram. I'm happy to answer that. All right. One day down, one day up. Political Basal. That was from Peter in here. Nasdaq bearish. No, Nasdaq is not bearish. Nasdaq is bullish. Check out the green pentagon inside here. Sell on news. Well, depend on your strategy anyway. All right. Okay, let's look at Unisem in here. So I'm going to bring up Unisem. So let's look at Unisem in here. Let's look at the stock comment and stock chart. Okay, and okay, Unisem again bullish, green pentagon, very nice. Okay, now to justify it, let's take a look at also the stock fundamentals, right? And you have the stock fundamentals not rated, but let's take a look at the 4-year trend. So this is the 4-year trend here, right? And you can see, oh, okay, 2019 expected. We have the margin drop, but margin is coming back. You look at the quarterly margin, this quarter has also dropped. First quarter has dropped to 12% and previously 16%, just slightly dropped. So that's why we didn't see Unisem take off. If you have a profit expansion, Unisem will take off. Hopefully we have a profit expansion in the Q2 where the profit margin gets better. Then previously was a whole high 16%. Right now it's 12% in here, and once it does that, this stock is going to jalan. All right. So that's for Unisem. I think it's okay to hold on depending on your time frame. Let's look at MI. Hit ME. So let's look at the stock chart here. Okay, MI. Let's switch to this chart here. Looking at it, MI. Okay, MI technology still looks good. We have a pullback in here. Still safe. We got a lot of NS. Again, markets continue to be very bad sentiment, so this market's going to go up. All right, in here. This is technology. Should be fine going forward. Okay, we got the Avanta. This is a rubber maker. Okay, nice one, line change in here. All right, finally a line change. And who knows, that is also very similar for all the glove stocks. Usually they all follow the same one. Yeah, you see one here, and let's look at Hata too. Okay. Okay, but it hasn't turned green pentagon yet. So Avanta, very nice. Nice base, good one for that one. Great, Avanta. Okay, so all right, so let's okay, there seems to be some sort of yeah, use this one better. Okay, any more stocks you want me to look at? Now take note of the QR code as well as the register link for Bitly. Use the one on the bottom side. Okay, the top one here seems to be a bit of issue, but let me just get this for you so you can register it better, and I'll paste it here again. Yeah, so use the link that I have inside here. Any question you all have? Okay. All right, I know many of you are going to be very busy. Go and check out the stock fundamental, check out the technicals in here, and then eventually you will know, hey, this is a stock I like for long term, this is a stock I don't like for short term. And then what you want to do is look back at some of the portfolio that you have. Hey, this stock I have it, Server Dynamics, or I have Top Glove. Should I cut it? Now remember, we talk about being rational and being FOMO. You all know what is FOMO, right? Again, come and check it out with me. A continuation from where we left off last Saturday. We will continue tomorrow on our part 2 of growth investing. Okay. Okay. Any more comments? Okay, let's look at the Bumi Amanda here. Okay, Bumi Amanda yesterday has a big sell-off. Red Pentagon hit the ATR stop loss out. That's it. Hit the ATR stop loss. Of course, you can also check out the Amanda. Okay. You want to check out whether it's a fundamental good or not. Hit that one. And you go to stock fundamentals. Okay. Then hit the 4-year trend. That should give you whether this is... okay. Here we have pretty much stagnant in here. Let's look at the quarterly one. Okay. You have margin expansion. So from a fundamental standpoint, it's not doing too bad. You have the profit margin in here, just that it's correcting in here. So depending on your strategy, so if you don't cut loss, then you are buying on what? Long term, isn't it? So this is very important. Sometimes there are conflicting signs with the fundamentals, which we get now. Fundamentals looks good. You can see the profit expansion, but you have to wait until the second quarter of 2021. So which means the market can go down, down and down. Is that your strategy? All right. Now think about that. It's very important. These information are given to you. You need to have this information that you have to build a very successful strategy. And the question is also going back to the strategy that you have. Do you backtest it? Because right now, as I said before, the sentiment for the Malaysian market is very bad. So a lot of stocks will hit down, right? Generally, I will avoid some of these oil and gas stock. I will stick more to the technology stocks, which have a better price volatility in here. Just take note of this one, Richie. For some reason, follow the hot sectors inside there. Don't follow what is popular. Okay, follow what is good in the hot sector. That is how I make money. I don't buy some of these people talk about shares. All right, and that's how I continue to benefit from it. By the time people talk about it, I jabot. That is why it's important to know about smart money. And this is, again, something we'll talk more in our growth investing stock. And also check out our August intake, where we go into more deep and how I train and coach some of our coach fellow students inside there. Okay, any more questions? Okay, so yeah, okay, I want to stop here. And we will continue tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also we are coming to almost the last part of our best stock trade ideas. You can see before we have many submission in here. Ask yourself, have you submitted for our chat with SMARTRobie best stock trade idea and stand a chance to win the iPad? All right, that's the Grab Food voucher in here. Still few more left to grab inside there. Give it a try. You will succeed, and maybe you do have a chance to win. And don't forget to share our Telegram chat room for free stock information in here. And we continue to seek your feedback and how to increase and improve our services to you. But remember, many of you have filled in the survey, so we will take note of it and continue to do better for you in here. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. So come in early, just before 2 p.m. in here. We probably have a continuation from where we left off from the modern value investing. We will go down to growth investing tomorrow. All right, check out the link and see you then. Bye bye.